You will never look at your relationship with a narcissist the same way again after reading what Carl Jung said about human psychology. And after watching this video, you'll know why everything you've tried hasn't worked. Carl Jung said that everyone has what he called a shadow, which are the hidden, repressed parts of their personality that they refuse to acknowledge. But Jung found something that most people don't see. Narcissists use their shadow as a weapon. They don't just avoid it, they use it against you. You and a narcissist are not operating in the same psychological reality when you're with them. Jung said that real relationships need what he called individuation, which means becoming truly self-aware. But narcissists have given up on this whole journey. They don't want to respect each other, help each other, or understand each other. Their game is very different from ours. Now, this is risky. What I'm about to say about their main goal will make sense of all the strange things you've ever experienced with them. Control is what a narcissist really wants, not connection. Jung found that some people lose touch with their true selves to the point where they can only feel real when they control other people. They won't think twice about changing reality to do that. They will do anything to get you to question what you think if it means gaslighting you. This is where most people go wrong, and Jung himself warned us not to do this. People think that if they are kind, patient, or clear enough, the narcissist will eventually show them their true self. But Jung found something very important. Some people have given up on their true selves so completely that normal ways of connecting with others just don't work for them. However, there is a way to tell when they are lying. To begin, you need to understand these 3 psychological tricks that Jung found in his research on the mind. One strategy is to distort reality. Jung said that how we see the world is very personal and depends on the person. Narcissists take advantage of this by making you doubt your own psychological reality, which Jung would call projection. They lie about conversations that took place and change the past in such a subtle way that you feel like you need to say sorry for things you never did. These arguments that question reality get stronger the more you use them. To put another way, Jung said that defending your perception puts you in a lower psychological position. Also, and this is the sneakiest part, they make you mentally addicted to them. Jung's studies show how this works in detail. Tip 2. Reinforcement every so often. Jung found that people are naturally drawn to being whole and finished. Narcissists mess up this drive by going back and forth between being kind and mean in unpredictable cycles. Jung would see this as a bad way to use our natural need to connect with others. If someone is always mean, you separate yourself from them. But when they show warmth once in a while, your mind starts to search for that reward, hoping that the good side of them will show up for good. This makes you psychologically dependent on it, which Jung would call a complex. This complex keeps you trapped. Trick 3. Projecting a shadow. Jung said that we see in other people what we don't want to see in ourselves. Narcissists use this against you by saying you're guilty of the same things they are guilty of. They call you a liar if they're not telling the truth. They say you're crazy if they're emotionally unstable. One thing Jung learned about getting out of these traps is that once you see these patterns, you stop playing their game. They also lose all of their power when you stop playing. Jung wrote that one of the worst patterns is trying to get approval from someone who is psychologically unable to give it. Jung said this was like living in the shadow of someone else's mind. You give up what Jung called your authentic self when you change how you act to avoid their criticism or to get their approval. They have control over your mental life because you let them. Jung also found out a harsh truth. The approval you seek will never come. I'll say why soon. Jung said that people who haven't fully developed psychologically are stuck in something he called perpetual projection. It would be too dangerous for their fragile mental health for them to let themselves be wrong, because it will mean giving up control. They can't really see or appreciate other people. The game was never meant to be winnable, so the goalposts are always moving. Jung said that the way to psychological freedom is to let go of projections. You must no longer depend on them for any kind of approval. This doesn't mean being mean. It just means staying out of their mental game completely. How does this really work? Jung's theory gives us 3 specific ways to change your relationship with them right away. First, stop trying to explain yourself. Jung said that when you try to protect yourself from projection, you make the projector stronger. Narcissists love arguments because they make them feel like their point of view is important. You've entered their mental space as soon as you start to defend yourself. Strategy 2. Get rid of the myth of closure. Jung found that some people are psychologically unable to really think about or take responsibility for their actions. That part where they say they did something wrong, it's not coming. You stay stuck in their web while you wait for it. The power, though, is that once you understand this, no one can touch you mentally. Strategy 3. Change the source of your validation. Jung said that true mental health comes from accepting yourself as you are and getting your worth from that instead of from other people's approval. If you've spent years changing how you see yourself to fit someone who doesn't value you, it's time to take back your power. Jung knew this about psychological warfare. It is a mistake to think that fairness will protect you from someone who is acting in a way that is not normal for their psychology. According to Jung, narcissists have a very different way of thinking than other people. A lot of people think that being the bigger person will help them make progress. But Jung's research shows that this way of thinking makes you more likely to be hurt. It's not a sign of strength that you want to keep justifying, explaining, or hoping for logical responses. It's a sign of weakness. It tells the narcissist that they are still in charge of your mind. Jung knew that there are times when you need to protect yourself by withdrawing. Some methods, like the gray rock method, which involves making yourself psychologically dull, work very well. They have less power over you when you don't give them the emotional responses they want. And this is the most important thing Jung learned. Hate is not the opposite of love. It is indifference. You become psychologically sovereign, according to Jung, when you can honestly say that their actions don't bother you. A narcissist can't handle things that they can't make upset. They lose all interest when they realize they can't change how you feel anymore. Jung said that setting boundaries isn't about controlling other people. It's about managing your own mental space. Narcissists will never respect boundaries unless you physically make them do so. Quit answering messages that are draining, saying yes when you mean no, and being there for people who only call when they need something. Over time, they will lose access to you. This isn't done to be mean, but to protect their own mental health. Jung had a very important insight. Everything that bothers us about other people can help us understand ourselves. But he also learned that detachment is often the most calm way to deal with manipulation, not anger or confrontation. Life is better at making things right than you could be. When you're angry at someone who hurt you, you feel emotionally connected to them and unable to move on with your life. You can break the cycle when you let go and work on becoming the best version of yourself. Going away is sometimes the strongest thing you can do. You don't do it out of weakness or defeat, but because you want to and because you respect yourself. If you quietly leave, your absence sends a deep psychological message. That way, they have to face their actions without your feelings getting in the way. Jung found that this kind of facing oneself is one of the most powerful ways to change. They begin to understand that your presence was never something they earned. It was a gift that they lost because of unconscious actions. They might try to get in touch with you again or wonder why you stopped talking to them. Jung called this psychological sovereignty. By that time, you've changed into someone who doesn't need validation or closure from people who hurt them. Hook or ending. You weren't supposed to disappear to punish them. It was meant to keep you safe. Jung always said that your relationship with yourself is the most important one you'll ever have. Getting away from things that drain you makes room for things that really make you feel good. People who used to treat you badly will stand back and watch as you do well without them. Being aware of this fact hurts more than any argument or confrontation because they will feel it in the silence, the empty space you used to fill, and the pride you carried when you left. In that quiet place, regret will slowly set in, just as Jung said it would. When someone doesn't respect your loyalty, doesn't think much of your kindness, or doesn't think much of you, remember what Jung taught us about the power of psychological mastery. Don't say anything. Please do not try to get their approval. Leave without a fuss, with poise, and with unwavering self-respect. They'll be able to hear everything they need to know about who you really are and who they lost in your silence. Thanks for coming along with me on this trip. This message might have helped you, so don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone else who could use it.